Welcome to Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Powered by the Monroe County Reporters. Here are your hosts, Jason Harwood and Jacob Litton.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Talking Grit. I am Jason Harwood. Over there somewhere is Jacob Litton. And as you can see, we have a third person with us for the whole show today. We are blessed to have him. He impressed us so much on his last episode he was on. We had to have him back. Jacob's intimidated, but as everyone knows, I don't care about Jacob. So here we go. We got Ash Soden from the Roar of the Lions UK podcast. Welcome back, Ash. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. And, it's definitely worth staying up for Lions football. It's currently 2:15 in the morning, but, nothing keeps the blood pumping and the adrenaline going than some Detroit Lions football.
Especially for the blowout that we're looking for this weekend.
Exactly.
I haven't been this confident going into a game, I don't know, in my life, to be honest with you. So it'll be, it's going to be that kind of podcast. But Jacob, Tigers lost today. I know you're down, but can you pull through for this episode?
Why would you do that right away? Why would you do it right away?
I don't know, because I hate
trying
you.
to get my mind off it. We're doing Lions, all Lions talk, hopefully, a big win, and then you just have to immediately sink it right as the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's not how comedians work, Jason. You're supposed to bring in the crowd.
Well, you constantly tell me I'm not funny, so there you go.
I'm
That's
glad
what
that
you
you're
get.
fully just embracing it and stop trying. No.
That's right.
Have you seen the memes and stuff people are already making about this game? They're like the NFL's, implementing a new mercy rule starting this week, and it's a picture of the Lions and Bengals. Just so many things about, like don't waste your money on these bets, and there's ugly, ugly things already coming out. So, and you just said already you feel confident. You don't feel any sort of trap or any sort of. I mean, obviously, we'll get into the numbers on paper. This is not even close. I don't have how much are we favored by right now? I don't have that in front of me.
It was 10.5 when I looked earlier today. I don't know if it's moved since then. Ash, is that where we're at still?
At 10, it's come down half a point probably with some of the stuff that's happened today in terms of injuries and transactions.
Yeah.
Even away.
That was worth a half a point,
enough. Huh? Right.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay. All right, Jacob. Why don't you tell us what the transactions were today? There was quite a few of them.
Yes, a lot going on. So most noteworthy, I think you would say, is that we did place cornerback DJ Reed on IR. So there was talks, we weren't sure how long he was going to be out, if it was going to be necessary. Dan Campbell kind of made it sound like, it's going to be about 4 games maybe. So they were kind of toying around with that idea. They did go ahead and put him on IR. Other news, that we released wide receiver Ronnie Bell from the practice squad. So we released him from the practice squad. We signed linebacker Ty Summers to the practice squad. And then I believe that was yesterday. And then as of today, we actually signed him to the active roster. So linebacker Ty Summers and safety Lauren Strickland were signed to the active roster from the practice squad. And then we did sign cornerback Nick Whiteside back to the practice squad. Shouts out to Jason. That was who you had mentioned. And then another cornerback to the practice squad, Trey Flowers. So this is noteworthy for a couple of reasons. This is now, I think, the 3rd week in a row. So Trey Flowers spent 2021, 2022 with the Cincinnati Bengals, played in 26 games for the Bengals. So now this continues the streak of every week we have a practice squad player from the opposing team. Most recently, he was on the Bears practice squad. He did not make the roster. So yeah, lots of news there.
Well, there's one more transaction that we have not mentioned, and it's the biggest transaction, right? Aleem McNeil is back on the practice field, which
hell yeah.
Is awesome. And Ash just said it right. How excited were you when you, today Dan Campbell announced he's going to be on the practice squad, but Monday, it sounded like, hey, this is going to happen this week. So now that it's confirmed, how you feeling about that, Ash?
Just so excited. Like when I did the sort of review for the Browns game, I was like, obviously we just had the press conference when we started doing our thing, and I was like, oh, just imagine some of the stunts that we were running with the Browns, but instead of you running it with Tyler Lacey, you have Aleem McNeil doing it. It's just that nice step up, and it helps us not peak too early in the season. Like everyone right now, some of my friends are like, so Lions, you had the bad week 1, you started to peak, now you played the Browns, and you're going to peak and you're going to fall off. Getting Aleem McNeil, who is honestly so underrated as a defense tackle, I think league-wide, like he's up there for me with Madi Madubuike, who unfortunately we didn't see with the Ravens balls, unfortunately. he's that good. He just doesn't have that national recognition yet. And I think him coming back in the next couple of weeks after PUP, start having that impact. By the time we get to meaningful football, the end of December, start of January, and then hopefully in February, he'll be fully back up to speed, fully in football shape, fully sharp, and he can be getting that Super Bowl ceiling sack, let's hope.
Yep. What do you think, Jacob?
But yeah, obviously huge news. Huge to get him back. It's also nice that it's been, we've been playing at a high level where it's not a rush, right? It's not like, God, we have to get him back right now. And like Ash kind of said, get him back in football shape, get him ready to go. I know Aleem had already said before, like if there was a game where I needed to play, I could play right now. And that was weeks ago. So obviously he's, going to take just a little bit to come along, get back into shape, but I expect him to hit the ground running for sure.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly, Jacob. And I don't know if I could say it any better. It's not an emergency. I mean, we are playing fine up front. Is it going to be awesome? Yeah. Like Ash said, he's one of the top defensive tackles. It's going to be great. But as long as we're healthy up into when he comes back, the drafting of Tyleek has afforded us and his play and Tyleek's play. He's played well. He's afforded us time to be with Aleem. But the thing that I'm encouraged by is that the Lions are usually so cautious with injuries I don't have any feeling that they're rushing Aleem back at all. Like, this is the natural course of this injury. The surprising thing is that I thought Rodrigo would be brought back right around the same time, and based on what we saw in training camp, and that hasn't happened yet. But our linebacking core is playing so well that that's also not like this dire need that we have. Do I want Rodrigo back? Yeah, I love seeing him on the field, but it's not dire need. So let's move on to main threats, Jacob. This could be short. Why don't you start us off with the offense here?
I like how the number one that you have listed on main threat is quarterback Joe Burrow, who will not be playing in this game.
I know.
But that's how hard we were scrambling trying to find, the threats on offense. They just have not been good. Offense is towards the bottom of the league right now. The main threats on offense are, of course, wide receivers Jamar Chase and wide receiver T. Higgins. Right now, Jamar is rated 22nd in Pro Football Focus. T is rated number 45. That's out of 118 qualified receivers. So, take that for what it's worth. They obviously have had Browning throwing them the football for half the season, but they are still very, very dangerous, and they can beat you over the top, and you have to look out for them.
Yep. And then you can go through the defense too. I'm going to let you do them both.
Defense here. A few more people on defense. The defense is still not great, but surprisingly playing more up to par than the offense, I would think. So rated 23rd out of 75, linebacker Oren Burks. Edge rusher Trey Hendrickson, who all Lions fans know because they were really hammering to try to trade for him. He's rated 24th in Pro Football Focus. Safety Geno Stone is rated 29th. And then cornerback Dax Hill, who we all know as Michigan fans anyway, he's actually rated number 29th out of cornerbacks. So no all-pro type players right now, I would say. But I mean, some people that are performing pretty well for how bad, the offense has been doing and how much the defense has had to be out on the field.
All right, Ash. So the receivers are the obvious answer of who scares you the most. You can include people that aren't on this list that we pulled from PFF. Are there players that the Lions need to watch over, or who do you have your eye on?
So as you said, the receivers are the obvious answer, especially with, DJ Reed being out, Terrian being questionable. We are really down to the scraps yet again already this early in the season at cornerback. So while Jake Browning is very much a throw it deep, the contested ball guy, was what I rewatched their Monday Night Football game against the Broncos, and that's seemingly how they got 50% of the yards was it's third down, right? Let's just chuck it up to one of the receivers. Either they come down in the contested catch, it's then either goes out of bounds or they get the DPI. They're very much, the desperation offense that we've seen from other quarterbacks. Jordan Love, Caleb Williams would have been in the hole, so they could definitely get us. It's surprising to me on their defense, though, that their current leader in interceptions, Jordan Battle, who's their third safety, isn't listed. He's someone to definitely keep an eye on, especially, if I don't obviously touch wood, it doesn't happen, but if the disconnect between Goff and JMO continues into this week, he's the kind of guy that very much like our own Kirby Joseph that can prey upon that, maybe pick off a ball. And the same with Geno Stone, who's obviously listed on there. This is the guy who, not this season just gone because that was Kirby, but the season before, back in his last year at Baltimore, was the lead leaguer interceptions. So again, if the JMO connection isn't just there and Goff undercooks the ball like he did against the Browns, or it's bobbled by JMO, they're the kind of guys on the back end that could really turn on that, because they're currently they're top 5 in interceptions created on defense. So something they could definitely prey upon if we give them the chance.
Yeah,
I just think
Oren
that's
Brooks, the linebacker.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Oren Brooks, the linebacker, has a pretty high pass rush grade, 81.9. It's actually higher than Trey Hendrickson. So that's something to watch out for. I assume they send him on blitzes, maybe play him on the edge a little bit. I haven't watched enough tape to know how they're sending him, but he's definitely a player we need to watch out for. Sorry, Jacob, what were you saying?
I was just going to say about the safeties with Battle and Stone. I think that the reason maybe they're not rated quite as high on Pro Football Focus is because their snap count, I think they're both like at the top of snaps played on defense. The Bengals in general, with how much they've been, the defense has been out there. But when your snap count is that much higher, obviously there's a lot more chances for you to give up a play here or there, or you know how Pro Football Focus can be touchy with these coverage grades and different things like that. So I just think maybe that's why the overall is not as high as some of these other guys, is just because of how much they are out there, which will probably be the case again this week, hopefully.
That's probably what boosts up Burks then, because I know he's their third line backer. He actually doesn't play too much. He's kind of like a sub guy for them, kind of like how we use Zach Cunningham against the Ravens, where he was on for that goal line stand. That's what Burks is, and of course that's someone we should know about because he used to play for the Gold and Green team in Wisconsin. So again, there's someone that hopefully we might know a tiny bit about and can really manipulate.
Yeah. So it's a short list for these guys. I heard, I was listening to the Pride of Detroit, their mailbag thing, and they said it's, the receivers are like having 2 Porsches parked outside of a shed or something like that because they can't do, they can't do too much. It's like the Joe Burrow thing. Talk about just destroying a team, essentially. I mean, they were obviously built all around their offense. Their defense had been lacking. And then all of a sudden, yes, you have these wide receivers, but you do not have a reliable quarterback to get them the ball. And that, God, to be a Bengals fan it'd be devastating. If this happened to the Lions, like Goff got injured, obviously we'd see a downgrade, but we've surrounded the rest of our team with talent, most notably the offensive line. I could trust that we could get a run game going and then just try to get it to our, talented, Amon-Ra, talented wide receivers, Amon-Ra, JMO, Khalif, Laporta, all those guys. And, they're very top heavy at the Bengals. And when one of those mountains or pillars goes away, it's really noticeable.
That's another interesting comparison that we could have between Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra is that, without Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase has really struggled, has not looked very well. Do you think if Goff was gone, obviously Amon-Ra would not be playing as high just because of the connection they have? But I think, if you have Kyle Allen, would you expect Amon-Ra to fall off the way Chase has? Because, Amon-Ra, the routes, the concept, everything that he does, obviously I can't be impartial. I prefer Amon-Ra over Jamar Chase, off the field stuff, on the field stuff, and everything. Without a doubt, Jamar Chase is a downfield threat, and he's a great receiver. But I just like what Amon-Ra is about. But I also feel like, if Goff was out, Amon-Ra is still going to be able to get 5 to 10 catches a game. They're still going to scheme that up. They're still going to do that. And for whatever reason, they just cannot get Jamar Chase the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about how the connection between Goff and Amon-Ra is so special. So, I mean, you're going to have a drop-off there.
For sure. That's not the question, though. But will it be like this?
Yeah, I can't imagine so. But it also depends on how Kyle Allen plays, too, right? We haven't seen him play. We've only seen him in the preseason. So, yeah, we're hoping he plays better than Browning. I would hope that we get at least that level of play.
Right.
It's a good.
I don't know if you saw.
No.
Well, I've got another one on here, so I'm just going to do it now while we're on the subject here. So,
yeah, go ahead.
When Burrow is healthy, do you think that this team that right now this year, like if Burrow's healthy, do you think they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender? So they made the Super Bowl in 2021, and that year they went 10-7. The next year, in 2022, they went 12-4. They lost in the conference championship. But then they went 9-8 in 2023. Burrow only played in 10 games. They went 9-8 last year. Burrow played in all 17. And the defense has been in the bottom half of the league in all these seasons except 2022. So they were top 10 the year they lost the conference championship, but they were in the bottom half the year they even made the Super Bowl. So with the team and the lineup and everything that they have right now, do you think that Burrow makes enough of a difference that they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender?
Ash, go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
No, because while Burrow has the pocket mobility to maybe negate some of the stuff with the pass protection from the offensive line, this is the offensive line that is currently rated worst in PFF on run block grade by a significant margin. They cannot run block to save their lives. Like, I really liked Chase Brown coming out of Illinois, and it seems he's doomed behind that offensive line. He's only just crossed 100 yards this past week against the Broncos, total for the season. Like, Jameer nearly matched his rushing total in one game. I swear that David Montgomery broke the Bengals sort of rushing total in the game against the Ravens. So without that to help them, and then that defense, which has got a good couple of players, Trey Hendrickson, Geno Stone's good. They've safeties are actually pretty all good. Like Dax Hill, I do like as a sort of pseudo Brian Branch, but they just can't get it all together. And I don't think it's any sort of coincidence that their defense has really fallen off. And it went like this when they lost DJ Reader, because he had that injury halfway through the season. Their defense drops off. He signs for us, and he's been for the past 2 seasons. And their defense has just been bottom of the barrel because they can't stop the run either. So that really harms their ability to limit offensive possessions for the other team, and maybe give a chance where Burrow doesn't have to throw for 5,000 yards. Jamar Chase doesn't have to get all the receptions, yards, and receiving touchdowns, the triple crown he got last year. So even if Burrow was still here, I'd say no, because even with the fall off of the Ravens, with the fall off of the Chiefs, I just don't think they've got the defense to handle the postseason, because that's the old adage, isn't it? Defense wins championships, and they just don't have it.
Yeah. I don't think you need to have 2006 Ravens or whatever that year defense anymore. You don't need that, but you just need to create a couple stops, along the way to beat a team like Buffalo. You just need to stop. You just have to have enough to stop them or slow them down. And the Bengals weren't going to do that. However, in any game, they could potentially win that game, right? I mean, the thing is, you got to put together a bunch of games in a row to win that Super Bowl. But any game, I would not bet the house on the other team. I don't care if it's Buffalo. I don't care who it is, because if Joe Burrow's on and he's hitting Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, depending on what the referees are calling in that game, all that stuff, I would say that they'd have a chance. But to string together 3 wins in a row against playoff caliber teams, I definitely wouldn't put much money on it. But it's not impossible. I mean, I know the defense wins championship, but the rules, everything has changed since that saying. Everything has changed, and it's all about playing complementary football, and it's all about just extending your drives by going for a 4th down, doing everything that Dan Campbell does, like stealing a possession here or there. Scoring in the red zone is the hidden stat. Like, everyone talks about getting, we know that. I mean, we watch football. We know that you got to score touchdowns. But for the casual fan, I mean, you get down to the red zone, you get a field goal. I mean, you've really put yourself behind the 8 ball. And we've seen that the times where the Lions have lost, that's what's happened. You saw it in Green Bay when we lost at the beginning of the year. We got down the red zone, couldn't score. Tampa Bay is another game last year. We get down there like 4 or 5 times and we don't score. Either we don't score or we get field goals. If you don't convert in those, it's not the same as a turnover, but it almost feels like that in this league where everybody could score as fast. And, but the Bengals, to answer your question, the Bengals don't have enough firepower on defense to consistently win a game after game in a playoff situation. But it's funny that they won the first 2 games. They always start so slow. They win the first 2 games, and then Joe's out, and now they're going to be getting a top draft pick next year now.
Yeah. Does Burrow even come back at this point?
Why?
What would be the
point?
point?
Why would you risk it? Yeah.
Even if wild card is within reach, I don't see him coming back with how this has been playing out.
All right. Was that your other, did you have any more on Joe Burrow, or was that the last question you had on him?
That was the last one I had on him.
That's good. All right. I like those questions. Those are good, Jacob. You did good. Clap, clap for you. All right. Injury report. Let's talk about that. It's interesting for the Lions. We're going to start with the Bengals first. So Noah Fant out with a concussion, had limited practice. Charlie Jones, one of their wide receivers, has an Achilles, did not practice. And Shamar Stewart has an ankle injury, their first-round pick, did not practice. You wrote a note, Jacob. You must have just saw their coach talking about him. But why don't you tell what he said?
It was basically just because Shamar and Noah Fant both did not play last week, but Fant was in concussion protocol. And, getting limited practice seems like he's probably, going to get cleared or be close to getting cleared. But Shamar did not play. And they asked the coach, Zach Taylor, about it. He says Shamar is progressing, but he was not ready to give an answer about whether he was going to play or not. He said the exact quote was that we'll see if he can go this week. So, take that for what it's worth. It doesn't sound promising if you're a Bengals fan, but
no.
At the end of the day, does that really matter? Do you want to risk further injury for him this early in the season in a developing year?
Yeah, well, for a normal team, yes, but the Bengals are not a normal team. Waited to sign him forever, so I'm not going to use logic with what the Bengals do, because those two are usually at odds with each other. Logic, Bengals, not together. Lions have an extensive injury list, unfortunately. Zach Cunningham still out with a hamstring, did not practice. Taylor Decker still with the same shoulder. I assume this is just something we're going to be talking about every week. But the thing is that he's coming out on Sunday and just playing. Did you hear Myles Garrett's name much on Sunday? You didn't, because Taylor Decker did his job over there and the Lions did their job over there. And Goff needs a lot of credit for what he did during that, getting the ball away, just, doing his job. The surprise name that I think that us three were surprised to see on there was Khalil Dorsey, concussion. So I don't know when that happened in the game, but did not practice. Already short in the cornerback room, as we talked earlier, and Khalil Dorsey is in concussion protocol. So he's going to have to clear that quickly to play on Sunday. So that's something to really, really monitor. Kirby Joseph did not practice with a knee. I'm sure it's the same knee thing that he's been dealing with. We'll have to monitor that. Kirby's he played the rest of that game, so I'm assuming this is a rest to try to heal that up. We already mentioned about DJ Reed. He went on the IR. Hamstring, did not practice, obviously. Sione Vaki still not practicing with his groin injury. Not looking good for you out there. Luckily, Sailors is playing lights out on special teams, and we got Craig back there. So, yes, what I like Vaki back there, he is a very good special teams player, but we can cover that area. The good news, I guess, from an injury standpoint, Terrion Arnold actually practiced today, limited practice. So that speaks well for him playing on Sunday, which, we're going to need him out there. And then Aleem McNeil, limited practice with his knee. He has a 21-day window. I do a video on Aleem. If you want to go onto YouTube, you can we can go through the timeline. Not going to spend too much time here, but he could play potentially anywhere in the next 21 days. The latest that he will play is week 9 against the Vikings. So that'll be awesome. All right. Jacob. Do you want to go through
real quick about the injury report?
Yeah.
I want to know, in your guys' opinion, let's say, I'll word it like this. Do we play it safe if Kirby or Decker are only 50-50 right now? Do we play it safe and let them get a rest week, or do we need them to win this game? So, if Kirby, obviously with Decker, we think this is just has been the whole season where he's kind of just getting that first rest day. But let's say it is kind of bothering him. He's a little banged up right now. If they're 50-50, would you rather them sit and heal for a week right now? Or do you think, just because they can go, they need to go? Especially in Kirby's case, because Kirby, that injury happened on that pick return, but we already have DJ that's going to be out. We brought Strickland up to the active roster, though. Rock can play safety. Is this a game where we say, he's not 100%? Maybe we let him take it easy and take this week off?
For me, I would sit Kirby because, as you quite rightly pointed out, we've brought up Lawrence Strickland. Avonte Maddox stepped in for him during the game and did quite well, in my opinion, in that. You've got Rock, who can play there, though, for me right now. He's probably the opposite outside starting corner with Amik. But the downfield threat that the Bengals can pose isn't enough where I'm like, we desperately need him back there, because hopefully with Browning, like, we should be able to cap Browning in terms of the pass rush. With Decker, though, because we're going up against Trey Hendrickson, who, while he's probably not in the same tier as Garrett, Parsons, and Hutch, is that next tier down. And if we have to put out Manu or Skipper or Cody or Ashika, who I know has taken some reps for us at tackle, it's enough of an issue where I know the Bengals will just stick Trey Hendrickson right over that left tackle and just let them go to work. And that could be enough to get Goff off his rhythm and shut down our offense, at least in that way. If all our runs, as we saw last week, usually go to the right anyway behind Penne. But in terms of that matchup, if Dak's happy to go, I'm playing him. But if Kirby, I'm probably a bit more happy to sort of say, sit out this week. We've got enough sort of in reserve in the secondary. We can move some pieces around and we should be able to deal. But Decker, we kind of need him because of Hendrickson.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add on the Taylor Decker situation is you don't want to risk Goff getting hurt. You don't want him taking extra hits. So even, I know you mentioned about getting him off his spot. It's just a matter of me, like that ruins the season, right? So if Decker can go, he 100% needs to play. The Kirby thing, I can get behind either way. I go either way. I know we've talked about the weaknesses of this team. It's still an NFL team, and they have deep threats. So do I want Kirby out there? Also, Kirby might get, maybe you sent me this, Ash. Kirby, we want to keep him in the interception lead, right? That was you that sent me that. So, yeah, I mean, selfishly, yeah, we want Kirby out there so he can get another easy pick. It can't be any easier than last week, but let's get him another easy one.
Browning's good to throw a couple usually, so you're right. There's probably going to be an opportunity in this one.
Yep. All right. So we mentioned a little bit about this. I'll just quickly mention the defense is one of the key things is they're last in yak. So expect a lot of runs after the catch. I really want to see use Laporta in this way. Every time he's got some significant passes on third down, but usually it's such a tight window that he's down right away. He is such a good runner after getting the ball. We just haven't showcased it this year. This could be the week that we get him loose, along with J-Mo, Amon-Ra, Khalif. Maybe we can get Tesla cutting across the middle. He hasn't caught a ball in 2 weeks. That'd be nice to see that. This defense, the Bengals defense, is last in blitz percentage in the league, and they are 24th in sacks. They only have 6 sacks on the season. So outside of Hendrickson and the linebacker, they are not, and Odin, they don't provide a lot of pressure, and they're not sending a lot of people either. So it's as far as communication up front, like it's probably pretty straightforward. You got to keep an eye on stunts and whatever else they're running, but I think they'll be fine there. This offense, when the season schedule come out, we're thinking we're going to play in a top flight offense. No, we're playing the last place offense in the league. So we played the Browns last week, which arguably were, the worst offense. Statistically, this is the least amount of yards per game. And Ash, you mentioned it about no running room. They only get 50 yards per game rushing. Do you know what the next worst team is? Either one of you?
I've got your outline, so I can't.
You saw it? Yeah. So it's the Steelers, and they're at 80 yards per game. So they are like almost half of the second to worst team. So Ash, you were right. Like they can outrun the ball. And so as stout as we are up front, it's not going to take too much. We're not going to have to put a lot of resources into stopping the run. It's not going to stop the Lions from doing that, but you don't have to worry about play action pass. You don't have to worry about any of that. And so expect a lot of pressure is where I'm getting at.
Do you think we see a lot of the same? You see a lot of the same for the Bengals this year? Or do you think because of the circumstances, because they're playing us, do you think they use this as the game? Like, let's try to switch some things up. Like, do they all of a sudden start pressuring more people? Do they start trying to put more emphasis on running the ball and doing different things running the ball? I mean, do you think they're going to try something new, or do you think they're going to try to just stick to their game plan, what they know, and hope for the best? Because, I mean, they're sitting ducks right now, right? Like, They have to do something. They have to pull something out to beat us. And I'm just interested to see what they're going to try differently. Like, what are they going to do, right? There's got to be some sort of schematic change here.
Do you get Ash?
I doubt it because Zach Taylor, their head coach, was asked about sort of stuff like that. He was, and he basically said, "I've got full faith." It was specifically about Jake Browning, but I think we can extrapolate it for the whole sort of offense and their game plan. They're just going to keep sticking the thing. That's the thing I've heard from Bengals fans. This is going to sound weird, but I promise it is true. When I was speaking to 2 Cincinnati Bengal puppet fans last night at 1:00 my time, that's basically what they said. They said that Zach Taylor will stick it, and with Jake Browning, they'll try a couple of deep shots, and when that doesn't work, let's do the short game, and there's no in between. They're just going to keep sort of pushing that button because it's all they have. They don't have much outside of the receivers and their tight ends and Chase Brown. They don't have much else other than that. Like, their offensive line is all replacement level guys anyway, so maybe they can change a few pieces on there, but it's really changing out one bad part for another bad part. And he's just stuck in his ways with the McVay thing. And I know it's all predicated on Joe, but it's not like our offense where if Goff does unfortunately have to go down, we will change a few things. I think with them, they just stick Jake Browning in and expect him to be Joe Burrow 2.0, and it's not going to work. The only thing they can maybe change is trying to do a couple more 4th downs, because surprisingly for such a bad offense, they're currently first in the league in 4th down conversion rate with 100% because they've only tried it 1 or 2 times. That might be the thing they try. It's like, oh, that actually kind of works. It's the kind of thing we need to do against this team. Kind of like what we did with the Rams in the first year of the regime, where we started doing onside kicks and all those 4th down conversions. That's the only thing they might try. But obviously, onside kicks aren't there anymore. That's all 4th quarter. You have to declare it. That's not going to work. But the 4th down stuff, they might try start pushing that button just to steal a possession or 2 to try and score a few more points.
Yeah, I don't see the Bengals changing very much just for those exact reasons that Ash said. Zach Taylor doesn't seem to be like a chance taker with that. He's very conservative, and I just don't see him changing all that much. You know, they're going to, maybe they try like a fake here or there or just something off kilter, but they're not going to drastically change the offense. And even if they do, I'm not worried about it because their offensive line they want to try to do reverses. They want to try to do anything, any trick plays like that. They're not going to have any time to like get that stuff off. And, you know, the thing, everyone wants to talk about these trick plays. You've seen the Bears try it, right? It doesn't, unless you've got some continuity or special players, you can't just do that stuff. It just doesn't like, hey, I drew it on the chalkboard, do this play and it's going to trick. And plus, I think it's very hard to trick the Lions defense anyways, because they're so used to practicing on that and everyone does their job. And that's when trick plays work, is because someone's eyes got fooled and, you know, they weren't doing their job. They're covering for someone else. And the Lions are so disciplined that they're usually those trick plays don't really work against them. All right. Anything else, Jacob, or?
Nope. I'm ready.
All right. Let's move on to keys of victory. Ash, as our guest, I'm going to let you throw out your first key to victory for the Lions out over the Bengals on Sunday.
Don't lose the penalty battle. This is a team that is very undisciplined. So there was a couple of times against the Broncos, especially where they tried hard counts and their own guys would false start. They'd get penalties on defense as well for holding and stuff. So don't out penalty them in a way, because that's been our issue, especially with Branch and Arnold. They've drawn a couple of laundry flags. Be disciplined this week, because if you start accumulating the penalties, you're extending their drives, you're giving them more chances to put points on the board and keep this close, when in reality, as we all agree, this should not be close at all. So don't give them that extra opportunity to keep it close.
All right. I'm going to jump ahead of you, Jacob, because mine actually goes right with that. Mine is a little more caveat. No self-imposed mistakes. We had so many like pre-snap penalties with the false starts that we just don't need to do that. Don't give them any extra chances. Don't make the offense, don't make it more difficult. Just get that. The thing that may challenge our take on that, Ash, is that the referee crew that's doing this game has thrown the most flags in the league this year. So, you're going to have to be extra diligent on that. So we'll have to watch that. Jacob, I'll let you go now.
All right. My first key to victory: don't let them score on the first drive. please. Last game, the Bengals had a 12-play drive that resulted in a field goal. That was their first drive. 12 plays and a field goal. They never had more than 6 plays in a drive after that. And half of those were 3 and outs. So this game's probably going to look similar to that, but I need the streak to be over, and I need us to shut them down on the first drive.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the streak, get that over with. Just get the first drive out of the way.
The defense wants to do that for Kelvin Shepherd because I'm sure he's yelling at them. No matter, we don't let him score a touchdown the rest of the game, he's still not happy because we let him go on the first one. All right. Ash, you got another one?
Run the ball heavily. I know we tried it last week with Monty and he had a really bad success rate, and Gibbs definitely got his. Do it again. We saw what he did to the Baltimore Ravens defense. This is not even half of what the Baltimore defense is, and their defensive line outside of Hendrickson isn't good. Their corners are poor tacklers. Exploit that. Run the ball. It helps you to play action, as we all know. You run to set up the pass kind of thing, but also it just limits their time that their offense is on the field. It wears them down. So then as the game goes on, the run becomes more and more effective. So Monty, Gibbs, Craig and Sailors will probably get a couple of carries as well. Do it because it will take the load off Goff. Hopefully it'll keep Hendrickson from getting those nice pass rushing situations in exploit. And it's probably going to be very nice for the fantasy people as well. And there's a owner of Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty in different leagues. I want to be selfish. I want to get those 30 points each in one because I'm currently 1-3 in the Raw Alliance Fantasy League and I can't have that. I can't be showing up by them.
Yeah,
nice.
That's hilarious. All right, Jacob, I'll let you go second this time.
Well, so I had the same one as him for one of them. It was just pound the rock, right? The same thing. Just let them go, let them cook. The Bengals line is struggling. The linebackers haven't played well. The corners aren't great in run defense. I mean, everything about this just looks like we should be able to run all over them. We just have to keep going. Also, if we go on a few long drives and we get like a multi-score lead, this team deflates. They know that Joe Burrow is not back there. He's not going to be able to, lead any kind of comeback. They have no confidence in Browning. So as soon as they go down by multiple scores, the defense is just ready for the next week. They're ready to give up. And I would really like for that to happen by halftime.
Kyle Allen gets some more snaps this game.
Right.
So mine is just don't allow many yards after catch. I don't want any Jamar Chase like out in the flat, busting down the sidelines. Those things can, it could turn real quick. So we just need to limit, just tackle the guy in front of you. I don't care if he gets a gets yardage. I really don't care because just like the Browns last week, I do not trust this offense to march down the field. Like you said, Jacob, yeah, they did it on the opening script, right? But after that, they couldn't extend drives. Just don't give them any free yards. Make them tackle, make them work for it. The Lions will figure it out. Kelvin Shepherd, if say they do score in the first drive, which that would, irk me to no end, but say we do, we'll have it figured out, and he'll do whatever changes he has to make. Let's just not let him score and then not worry about it the rest of the game either. But yeah, Yak is the big one. Do you have any more, Ash?
No, that was mine.
Yeah, my last one is pretty much similar to yours, but I just said nothing over the top. Like, make them go on these longer drives. Don't allow the big play like that because we know they're going to have to take up a couple shots. And they're probably going to, maybe they'll take more in this game just because they're going to hope that Terrion gets a holding penalty or they're going to hope they get a pass interference, just anything to help them down the field. So just don't allow anything over the top. Like, we're going to be able to collapse the pocket. We're going to be able to create pressure. They're not going to be able to run the ball. They're going to have to go on longer drives to put up points. So, and they're not going to be able to do it. Like you said, Jason, they don't have it in them to go on these multiple 80-plus yard drives. It's just not going to happen. So we just can't do them any favors by allowing them to get off a 70-yard touchdown over the top or a 60-yard defensive pass interference penalty. So just, play off, play safe. Don't allow them over the top. Don't bite on double moves or anything like that. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Terrion with Jamar Chase. DJ Reed's not here. It's going to be Terrion, probably a Meek on the other side, depending on how they play that. So it's going to be a big game for them. Yes, it's the Bengals, and yes, they're not good, but it's really not going to be good for Terrion if he allows Jamar Chase to get, 100-plus yards and a touchdown or two. We got to have him showing out.
I want to see a Meek lock down Jamar Chase just like he did Jefferson.
Yeah, right.
Week 18 last year. I mean, how put that on your resume, especially in a contract year? Yeah, I locked down. I played nickel and I play at a very high level inside, but you need me to go the outside? Yeah, I can do that too. I don't want to see his demand go up because I like Amik and I want him back next year, but this could be good for him if he goes and has a shutdown game. Might not mean as much because of Browning back there, but still, you could still put it on your resume and lock down Jamar Chase.
That's just the asterisk when you say that he shut down Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's still
that's a small little tidbit about who is quarterback.
Yeah, don't read the fine print. Just know you shut him down. All right, Jacob. Roar alert! The player that is going to make some noise. I did pick a player this time, not a unit. So to keep you off my back.
Finally.
But I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Roar alert! Who's your?
So this is a first for me, and I'm going bold with this one here. So I actually picked DJ Reader for my Roar alert. This is DJ's first game back in Cincinnati. He's played a few seasons there. He left them to sign the contract with us. That he wants to show out. The Bengals offense has been struggling, so it's just most of what DJ does is not very loud, just because he does like the dirty work and he's stuffing the run and everything. But I'm saying he does something loud in this one.
All right. Knock that ball out, get a sack, something. Yeah, I like it. Good. All right, I'm on board. Ash, you got something?
JMO. We heard Scotty's comments, I think it was yesterday in his press conference, that JMO was fired up about what happened on Sunday and he wants to correct it. He was doing everything he could in walkthroughs. He's going to come out with a vengeance on Sunday and he will want to put up yards and catches on what is a relatively poor cornerback room for the Bengals. So JMO, bounce back game, torch the defense.
Yes. All right. Ash and I are same here. I said my quote on here is Jameson Williams have a bounce back game. And that could be any sort of thing. We throw a reverse and he runs, get deep passes over the middle. He gets, I'm not saying he's necessarily score a touchdown, but we're going to get some explosive or multiple explosive plays with him. And anytime he gets an explosive, he can take it in the end zone. All right. Now let's jump into the grit guarantee.
It's time for the grit guarantee.
I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going 3+ sacks. 3 or more sacks in this game. Going to happen. Hopefully Aiden gets his. Maybe DJ Reader for you, Jacob. That count for your Roar alert. So I'm going 3+ sacks for the Lions in this game. Ash?
Sam Laporta catches a touchdown off a play-action boot. Ooh. I watched that Monday Night Football game against the Broncos, and half of the Broncos' good passing plays were on play-action boots to the left, and Nix would throw it to the tight ends. Perfect play for Sam Laporta to finally get his first touchdown of the season, because he's one of those guys that's showing up in all those fancy graphics. Notable players that haven't caught a touchdown yet. He ends it this week.
All right. Jacob?
Nice. Good observation. So my grit guarantee, most of the time this season, this has become like a jinx. So I'm a very superstitious person, as anyone who listens knows. So I've got to be careful with my grit guarantee here. So I pulled a Jason. I'm not guaranteeing any player here. But what I am going to say is that the Lions will score 30. That's my guarantee, is that we hit 30. Bengals give up about 30 points a game, and the Lions right now average about 34. And you know what? If they don't score 30 and still win, it's not a jinx. So I'm comfortable making this my guarantee this week.
All right.
And then that'll break the streak. And then next week, I'll go back to making the bold guarantees.
All right. Cool. All right. Yes. Your superstitions play a large role in this show, Jacob, and I love it.
Right. They play a large role in my life. They control it.
Yeah, well, they're starting to play a larger role in my life. Like, I'm going to the Lions game, I'm like, I gotta get my socks on. If we lose and Jacob asks me, I don't have the socks. Yeah, I'm in trouble. So yeah, your superstitions are controlling my life. It's a problem. All right, man. I'm gonna let you do the grit picks, review them, because
thank you.
I'll let you gloat a little bit.
Grit picks.
Right. So we all knew it was inevitable. Jason tanked. It only lasted a couple weeks here. Last week, I went 4-0. Jason went 2-2. So that brings the season standings. Jason's at 9-6 right now, and I am at 10-5. and I don't intend on ever falling behind Jason again. So he had a good couple weeks there. Recap, Thursday Night Football, Seahawks at Cardinals. I was surprised that the line was so close. I thought it was obvious that the Seahawks were going to win, and then Jason picked the Cardinals. And the Cardinals did come back and make it a closer game there towards the end, and I got a little nervous. The whole game, it went exactly how I was thinking it was going to go. They started to come back. I was like, I'll never hear the end of it if they do this.
I know.
I got one on them there.
My finger on the texting too, and I'm like, told you, and then I had to take it away.
Packers at Cowboys. I guess we're calling this a push that it counts for both of us because we both picked Green Bay, and that ended in a tie, which I think we were both happy with the results of that game. Wish the Cowboys would have picked off that last pass so that they wouldn't have been able to kick the field goal, but that's okay. We'll take the tie. On Monday Night Football, Jets at Dolphins. You went with the Jets. I went with the Dolphins. Dolphins won that game. And then Bengals at Broncos. We both pretty comfortably picked the Broncos, and that turned out to be correct in a huge 28-3 win for them.
I know Miami won that game, but man, what a loss for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Hard to watch. One of those tough ones, man.
Yeah.
All right, we ready for this week? Thursday Night Football, 49ers at Rams. The Rams are favored by 6.5 points. Let's let Ash go first here. Who you picking, Ash?
Considering, they've just ruled out their starting QB and their best two receivers, I think this can only unfortunately go one way, and that is the way of the Rams. Because the 49ers
I was going to say, whoa.
Careful. I was going to say, just careful. Mac, the return of the Mac. No, Stafford. Yeah, I forgot either. The Stafford is just going to absolutely light up the scoreboard against them, and they won't be able to keep chase.
All right. I'm obviously going the Rams as well. Jacob, I assume you're in the same boat.
Yes. I was a little nervous for you. I was like, is this going to be one of his bold picks that he tries to? No. I mean, I'm surprised the line's only at 6.5. I don't know. Maybe that just wasn't updated after. 49ers without Kittle, they're without Ayuk. Now they lose Pearsall, they lose Jennings. Brock Purdy's not going to play. And Mac Jones did okay in the last start, but the defense is good. They're not going to be good enough that the Rams can't outscore them.
All right. Next one, Patriots at Bills. Sunday Night Football. I don't know how this is Sunday Night Football. I'm kind of underwhelmed with the Thursday Night Football and the Sunday Night Football at this point. Jacob, I'll let you go first.
Patriots at Bills. The Bills are favored by 7.5 points. The Patriots have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense right now. They're going to put points on the board against the Bills. They're going to make this a closer game. So I think this is similar to what I said about the Dolphins, where people are expecting the Bills to come out and win this handsomely. I don't think it's going to be as easy as they think. I am still picking the Bills here, but I'm putting them on upset alert. So I don't think covering the spread is going to be quite as easy as it sounds against the Patriots.
Ash?
Well, I am Drake May's number one fad. I did have him as my QB1 in last year's draft class. But the power of the rivalries uniforms for the Bills, because they'll be wearing their nice, lovely new uniforms like the Dolphins were on Thursday. It's just going to power them. James Cook is cooking. Josh Allen is looking for a second ring to go along with his Reading ring to Hailey Steinfeld. Totally not jealous about that. Bills to win.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills as well. I don't know if it's going to be close, Jacob, but we'll see. You're hedging your bets here. All right.
I just think they're going to put up more of a fight than what people are thinking. Because, like you just said, you're not sure how it's Sunday Night Football. I think it's going to be more of an entertaining game than what you're putting on here.
Well, I hope that it's as entertaining as last Sunday Night Football game, because it looked like a snoozer at the beginning and turned into a really exciting game all the way through, even through overtime. All right. Monday Night Football. Chiefs favored at 3.5 over the Jaguars. I'm going Jags. Maybe this is my weekly pick against the Chiefs, but I'm picking the Jags on this one. You want to go, Ash?
I'm going Chiefs. I know the Jags put up a really good game last week. Actually, beating the 49ers, but Taylor Swift's second favorite Chiefs player is now back and fully healthy, and he looks to be doing okay. And considering the cornerback situation and the Jags, they're not good. I can see him finally popping off for them, and that'll open things up. Hopefully, well, not hopefully for the Chiefs, but for me, hopefully, so they beat the Jags.
What do you got, Jacob?
It's funny because this was the one that I kind of went back and forth on also. So the Jaguars are 3-1. The defense actually looks pretty legit. This is going to be a big test for them, though. And I think the difference is that they right now have not been able to get Brian Thomas going on offense. The offense is just not clicking yet. They need him to get out there. I think that's going to be the key. Like, if they're able to get Brian Thomas going, I think the Jaguars could win this game. But the Chiefs, they're riding into this one really high after beating the Ravens like they did. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one.
All right. We'll see if you extend your lead or if we tie it up. We'll have to wait till Monday night to figure that out. Man, all right. We did good. We kept it under an hour, fellas. I'm proud of us. This is pretty awesome.
I've got something to add before you get too happy about that.
It's
not a long discussion. It's something I usually do at the beginning, but I just didn't. The opportunity did not present itself yet. So I don't know how much research that you've done, like all time, but do you know the last time the Lions beat the Bengals?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Ash probably does. I'm sure Ash does.
Isn't it something like 28 years or something? I don't think it's been, spoiler alert, since I've been alive, which is 1998.
So the Bengals are 10-3 against the Lions all time, and that includes the fact the Bengals have won the last 7 games that they've played. So the last time the Lions were able to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals was in November of 1992. In this game, Eric Kramer had 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Barry Sanders ran 29 times for 151 yards and a touchdown. Rookie Jason Hansen went 4 for 4 on field goals. And the defense held quarterback Boomer Esiason to 64 pass yards, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. So those were the players.
64?
64 pass yards for the game. No touchdowns, 2 picks. That was the matchup the last time the Lions were able to get a victory against Cincinnati.
Nice.
Just a cool little history lesson there.
That's good. I like it.
Jason probably remembers that game.
I'm sure I was watching it. That was 12-year-old Jason running around and looking at Barry Sanders. Yeah, running 29 times. I'm all about that. And 151 yards. I'm sure there was a good run in there.
Right?
All right. Before we head out of here, a couple things. Number one, if you are trying to help us out, if you want to, help Talking Grit out, we are monetized on YouTube. Watching us on YouTube helps us more. Doesn't cost you a dime. That would be the best way. What's important to Jacob and I is that you enjoy the show. So if you enjoy it on Spotify, if you enjoy it on Apple Podcasts, by all means, enjoy the show. But if you're indifferent to how you take in the show, YouTube would be our preferred method of doing that. You get the same show. You have to look at my face. I mean, Jacob's not
That's
too
a
bad.
hard sell. You shouldn't have mentioned that.
It is. I know. It's rough. Maybe
a lot of videos have highlights over Jason's face and different things, so it's not, you can power through.
Yeah, you can do. I mean, it's your pennant for the day. You gotta listen to my voice. But, this show in particular, you get to look at Ash and Jacob and then my unbearded face because I can't grow anything on there. And
got a question in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dominic says, do you guys answer questions?
Of course, Dominic.
We do.
Shoot away. So we'll wait on Dominic's question, but, just check us out on YouTube. We are also posting a lot more videos and shorts on there that are outside of what we talk about on the show. So a lot more immediate stuff, like when the Aleem McNeil news come out, I just put a short video on that, and I'll do an injury report video. So we're trying to do some more stuff on YouTube. But the show is obviously going to be the same, and you can listen however you want to listen to it. But if you are indifferent, YouTube would help us out, and it won't cost you a dime. While we wait on Dominic's question, Ash, what are you guys working on over at the Roar of UK? What are you working on? Or the Lions at UK? What do you want to promote?
So obviously I've been working on the weekly game preview articles, which, I try to go in and look at some of the key matchups that I think are going to be key. And luckily last week I was right. I really focused on the special teams and how hopefully we'll have a bounce back game. And, Khalif managed to return that touchdown, which is great. So working on that, but I've also in the background, I've hinted it a couple of weeks, I've been working on a big piece on the defensive scheme and how Derek Barnes and Byron Branch are so key to that and why we can play a lot of base because while it's dropped down this season, we're only 7th. There's a reason why we play most of our snaps in base. So I've been looking at that. But yeah, when we have the usual, preview podcast tomorrow about 1:00 your guys' time. me and Matt, because Matt's finally back from his holiday, though we're tempted to keep him out holiday because we've been 2-0 and absolutely blown out teams while he's been away. So tried to keep him away, but he'll be back for the Bengals game. And then not this Sunday, but next Sunday for the Chiefs game, we are, as part of One Pride Worldwide, we are doing a fan meetup in London to watch Sunday Night Football together, casino/place down in London called the Hippodrome, I believe. So next Sunday, come and meet us, get a couple of drinks, poke me and Matt and Ant and Ryan, whoever turns up, and come shake our hands because, we like to connect with our viewers, and that's one of the big things that I've really trying to be pushing for because, it's nice to meet people that are not just faces behind a computer screen.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like it. I'm kind of jealous of that, to be honest with you, Ash. But and I wish we could go meet you, but I will not be able to fly out there, unfortunately. But at some point, we'll get in contact with each other.
Next year in Germany.
All right. Oh man, that would be sweet, right? Go over and drink some beer. Oh man, maybe it'll be during Oktoberfest too. Man, that would that would be awesome. All right, Dominic, I see your questions. What we're going to do is we're going to end the regular audio portion of this one. I am going to take your question. We'll probably make a separate video out of it too. It has to do with cornerback depth and trades. So if you're interested in that, I'm teasing a video that I'm going to make. So go ahead and do that. Any parting shots or anything, Jacob?
No, man. I'm ready.
All right. I'm feeling good. Got the Bengals. We kept the show over under an hour. I am super happy about that. I'm so proud of myself. Talking like that, I just pushed it over a minute. So I got one thing to say why I got to cut a minute of the show out. Go Lions.